On to China now. A sudden downpour triggered mudslides and caused floods in the northwestern part of the country. 16 people have lost their lives. Dozens are missing. Rescue teams are cleaning up the debris after floods uprooted trees and damaged houses. The floods occurred in a mountainous region of Datong County. It has affected more than 6,200 people from across 6 villages. The deluge coming during a summer of extreme weather events in China, with multiple cities clocking their hottest days on record. The visuals of the devastation published by the state media showing roads covered with mud, trees uprooted, damaged homes, rescue workers carrying equipment to clean up the debris. A frontline headquarters has been set up to organize the emergency response. Chinese authorities have warned that heavy rains are expected to hit the northern regions of the country, including the capital Beijing and its neighboring Tianjin and Hebei. Meanwhile, millions of people in southwest China are facing rolling power cuts after a crushing heat wave led to an electricity supply crunch and forced factories to halt work. Large parts of the country have been experiencing drought and grappling with the worst heat wave on record. Chinese planes are firing rods into the sky to bring more rainfall to its crucial Yangtze River, which has dried up in parts. Several regions on the Yangtze have launched weather modification programs. But with the cloud cover too thin, operations in some drought-ravaged parts of the river's basin have remained on standby. Central China's Hubei province became the latest to announce it would be seeding clouds using silver iodide rods in order to induce rainfall. The silver iodide rods, which are typically the size of cigarettes, are shot into existing clouds to help form ice crystals. The crystals then help the clouds produce more rain, making the moisture content heavier and more likely to be released. Cloud seeding has been in use since the 1940s, and China has the biggest cloud seeding program in the world. It used seeding ahead of the Beijing Olympics in 2008 to ensure dry weather for the event, and the technique can also be used to induce snowfall or to soften hail. The Ministry of Water Resources has warned that drought throughout the Yangtze River Basin will have adverse effects. It will affect the drinking water security of rural people and livestock and the growth of crops. The Yangtze is drying up and shrinking amid relentless heat and low rainfall. China is deploying such funds and developing new supply sources to deal with the impact on crops and livestock, and some livestock has been temporarily relocated to other regions. Suen Tøvdal, Director Klima 2020 and former UN Director, with me live from Norway on this. Thanks very much for being here. Droughts are not uncommon, but this year they are becoming harsher and longer, like what we are witnessing in China now. Tell us more about the driving forces.
Well, there is no doubt about the consensus amongst the scientists that what now is making heat waves and also, in a way, flooding, as you mentioned earlier in the program, stronger and wilder. That is the climate change and the increasing temperature on Earth. This is the fact. So what we see now, when the Earth has been 1.2 centigrades warmer since the Industrial Revolution, we see this now happening all over the world, in Europe, in the US, in China, as you mentioned. And be aware that this will only be worse, because it looks now that the temperature will increase rapidly and into a very dangerous level. So this is something we need to live with in the future, and of course we should do as much as we can as of now to limit the and stop the warming.
Let's talk about efforts like cloud seeding. Can the practice actually help lessen the impact of the drought in China? What are the drawbacks or the challenges as far as the process goes? Reports indicating that with the cloud cover too thin, operations in some parts have remained on standby in China.
Well, as you mentioned earlier in the program, China is probably the country in the world with the longest experience with this technology. We might call it geoengineering, and there is many ideas on how to use geoengineering to reduce the impact of global warming. As you see from what is happening in China now, it hasn't, in a way, had a big impact on solving the problem. And there is also a discussion around that there might be other consequences from using this technology. So I think what is needed, and there is not a kind of broad international research program that is working on it. So I think we have to be very careful. On the other hand, since the temperature is getting warmer and warmer, we have to do something with it. So in a way, it's good that this is experienced so that we can, in the future, maybe try to use the best available methods to reduce the damage from global warming. But so far, we have not been in a position to come up with something that is really working and where we know that the consequences is not negative. So it is not something that we can count on to solve our problem in the future.
Right, we're leaving it there for the moment. Thanks very much for being here on the broadcast. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.